Welcome to the Education Report. This is a weekly public affairs program on these Clear Channel Dayton stations. With the help of our guests, we focus on education issues, activities, and events of all kinds right here in southwestern Ohio. I'm Gary Honert, Marketing Communications Manager for Workforce Development at Sinclair Community College. I'm your host each week, and I welcome your comments and suggestions. Well, our Education Report guests are Belinda Bachrath, Southwest Area Manager for Capabilities, Inc., and Justin Blumhorst, Business Development Specialist with Capabilities. And welcome, Belinda and Justin, to the Education Report.
Great. Thank you for having us today.
Now, Belinda, I talked earlier about the Americans with Disabilities Act and how it's kind of a transformational, a pivotal point in, at least in U.S. history, in terms of people's attitudes and legal rights related to individuals with disabilities. You work, and Justin work with employers a lot. Is there some reluctance? I would guess some employers would like to be involved, but maybe perhaps they have some concerns that, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to re-engineer my building, and then we're going to have to, we don't know whether this employee is going to show up one day or not because of their ability or disability.
Yeah. I think there are some fears out there that, oh, I only have a step coming into my building. I can't hire anybody with a disability. Well, that's not necessarily true. They don't have to redo their buildings. I may be looking at placing someone there who has physical ability to be able to get in and out of the building. And when I say I place them there, what we do is we help people through job development. We help them with different services like, developing a resume, completing applications, practice interview skills so that they can get those jobs. And then once they're in that employment, we help with what we call job coaching, which is training that individual. So that cost is, again, absorbed by us. There's no cost to the employer for a job coach to come in. And our job coaches, generally, they learn the job very quickly. So maybe my person with a disability might take just a smidge longer to learn the job, but they have a job coach there to help them with that so that they can learn the job. And what I've seen is that the studies do show that typically a person with a disability are usually more loyal and they stay longer at jobs. If you think about it, if you're off of work for a couple years, just trying your best to find a job, and then all of a sudden you get one, you're like, hallelujah. Whereas, I know people that don't have disabilities, they go from job to job to job. They aren't loyal. People with disabilities tend to stay longer. They're more punctual. They just generally become the best employee that you have. And, they just stay longer. The training's there, the all of the supports that you need, and with capabilities, if we come in and we help you with that, you've got us there as job coaching to help you train that employee. And then once what we call fade out from job coaching, when we fade out from job coaching, then typically, for about the next 90 days, we kind of check on that person, keep them getting through that honeymoon period. But getting the job is usually only part of it. We all know you get a job, hey, I can qualify for a lot of jobs. But if I can't get along with my coworkers or, I don't make friends easily, it's hard for somebody to keep a job. So the job coaches also help with that. They help them just those interpersonal skills. You go in, your stomach's all in knots, you're not doing well. That job coach is there just to say, what, everybody has their first day. So they've got just that little extra help to get them through that initial period. And employers, generally, we have really good luck with our employers. I think our placement rate is like 89%. And we really, really enjoy our jobs. So I think that helps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think a very interesting stat that I saw the other day, actually, we shared on our Facebook page, actually, was that we placed more people on jobs this year than we were referred. And the reason that could happen, because some of the numbers that we placed were people we referred last year too. Mm-hmm. But it was just an amazing number to me that we were able to place that many people out in the community to get good paying jobs for them.
Well, and this might be a good opportunity, Justin, to share website information for Capabilities.
Oh, yes. Our website is www.capabilitiesinc.biz. We're also out there on Twitter, on Facebook, even on Google+, if you're interested in that. But we try to share information on all those social media sites to really let people know about the disability programs out there and also the awareness things that you should know about if you have a disability. Because I know one of the biggest things I shared too was just recently we have for all the voting that's coming up, there's a lot of ADA type issues that you need to be aware of and to know your rights and your responsibilities when it comes to voting.
Well, generally what are some of those issues related, ADA issues related to voting?
Well, yeah. Because wherever you're going to vote, you have the right to vote. So wherever the voting place is, it has to be accessible. So, but a big push to this year is also you can vote beforehand. So any absentee balloting, that's really popular for people with disabilities. That's actually one of my favorite ways to vote because I can research a little more and not feel pressured, especially if you have any mental health disabilities. It's a really more of a relaxed environment to vote that way. So,
And Belinda, we've approached this, and maybe I've approached it the wrong way. You have worked with any number of individuals who, at one time, when they were perfectly physically and mentally capable, and perhaps as a result of an accident or an illness or stroke or whatever, they're having to relearn either their current job or some new skills. What portion of your clients are, shall I say, have always had a disability, in which, you know, I'm not going to nail you down into
Oh, you're making me
percentages
think
here,
hard now.
but you know, in terms of folks who've had at least lifetime disability versus those that at some life-changing event has resulted in a disability.
I would guess probably maybe 50%, I'm guessing.
I'd say so.
We have what we call developmental disabilities, which is typically someone who's had a disability from the time they started developing. So, you know, we have those individuals, but then we have individuals, you know, a lot of times mental health issues don't arise until you become an adult. We have a lot of people that we've worked with that through, you know, GM closures and Delphi closures. Those individuals were there for years and years and years, and they did great at their jobs. That job they lost, their mental health has now come to the surface, and now they're looking for help, you know, because they didn't have to worry about that. They did the same thing every day. They, you know, they knew their job. They did great at it. So I'm going to guess probably about 50%. And when we get those individuals coming in, a lot of times they'll refer them to us and they ask us if we can do what's called a community-based assessment. And that's when we really reach out to the employers. And I may call you and say, hey, Gary, I've got this individual who he's kind of, you know, he's not sure what he wants to do, but one of the things that he's had an interest in is working at a radio station. Is there any way he could come in and maybe do some work for you for about 20 hours? I'd pay him, I'd cover his workers' comp, I'd have a job coach with him. I just kind of want to see what his skills are. And you know, can you help me with that? And then from there, when that individual comes in, you know, we're going to assess their skills, find out what they are. You as an employer get to see them ahead of time. So a lot of times you're like, hey, this person's really good. I really want to hire them. You know, so it kind of gives you a little bit of a view of an employee before, you know, you actually do all the hire work. So it tremendously helps us. You know, we know exactly how they're going to get along. We know, you know, what kind of triggers they may have. It's just a really wonderful thing when the employers help us with that.
Justin, I know you do a lot of work with your clients and related to assistive technology and use of computers. And I'm guessing that the world of computers and internet access and so on and so forth has opened up job opportunities for individuals who may be physically disabled, wheelchair or even more severe, but yet they can move a mouse and they can create, and their mind is fully capable.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, that's what I tell students when I go out to talk at schools. What I let them know is you're not held back by what your disability is anymore. There's so many programs out there and so many assistive technologies out there that can help you achieve whatever you want to do. I think my parents always installed a very good ethic in me that I can do whatever I want to do. And I think before, if you had a disability, that may have not been the case. But with the technology out there today, there's a lot of things you could do. Say if you can't type, if for some reason you're physically disabled with your fingers, there's a program called Dragon Naturally Speaking, and that you just wear a headset, and everything you're talking gets talked right into the microphone. You can actually use that to move your mouse even too. So if you can't move a mouse, you can actually move it through talking too. as far as other up and coming technologies, I've seen eye tracking software, so you can move your mouse based on where you're looking at. So if you look up and to the left, your mouse will also go up and to the left, and if you blink, it will double click or do any of those different things. But there's just so much stuff out there for people. And one thing I never think of for low vision or blind people, how can they use a computer? For me, I'm a very visually based person, so when I want to use a computer, I'm looking at it and thinking, hey, how could someone possibly use this? But there's a screen reading software made from Freedom Scientific. It's called JAWS, and there's a guy in St. Mary's. He works for us, and he operates his computer just by listening to it. He puts all the input in, so it's just wonderful that there's stuff out there. He's active on Facebook now too, so it's just great that he can use something to help him get involved in the community and also do jobs and everything too. As far as other assistive technology, there's another one called WIN, which is What You Need Now, and that is for people, if you have any trouble spelling or have trouble reading, this can actually read for you. It can help you type. And kind of like on your phone, if you're typing, it suggests words for you. It does that same thing on a computer too. So once again, it's just there's so much stuff out there. There's actually big fairs and everything, like national fairs, where they show all the software, and it's quite an event to see everything that's out there and all the possibilities for people.